When it comes to content on the web, the way people are producing content monetized by ads, right? Facebook has ads. There's all these. Anytime you have valuable content, people put ads next to it, and you're going to the New York Times, you're going to Facebook, you're ripping out their content and not copying their ads over. Are they going to be really pissed at you and blocking you for stealing all their content and not sharing any revenue?
Well, when it comes to news articles, there's actually a lot of precedents around that. So in just the vertical of the news, there's Instapaper, there's Flipboard, and things like that. How usually the agreements go where in return for the content, you are bringing tweets, and people that use these type of power tools usually tend to, be enablers of content, and usually it's kind of like a state-off agreement. We won't sue you. You're enabling our content. But then there are, in situations where certain publishers don't want their content, cease and desist, providing a really raw summary to show you off the full experience. We're definitely able to do.
I think we might have time for one more question. Yeah, sure.
You spoke about seed money for one of your next steps. How much seed money are you seeking, and what do you plan to do with the seed money?
So we're looking at right now raising around $250,000 to $500,000, and really it's just to grow our team. Right now, I'm the only full-time co-founder. My other co-founder, she's working kind of part-time just so we can afford to eat and pay for the services. So the first step would be for her to come on full-time, and then second would be to hire another developer to really get growing on our Android and iOS development. So it's really, just growth capital, adding more people to our team, getting on these next step projects faster.
Okay, thank you so much, Jordan. Okay, we have a ton of community announcements today. Both that people have given me beforehand, and also that I know that people want to announce in a little bit. So to start out, there is a really big event coming up next Thursday, October 25th, Ignite Ann Arbor. Has anyone heard of Ignite before? Okay, yeah, I see some people have. So the format is similar to a2newtech, where each presenter has 5 minutes to present, except the slides are automatically rotating, and it's on something that the person is passionate about, as opposed to being specifically about the company. So in the past, we've had presentations on everything from puns to burlesque dancers, Detroit Derby girls, people making the best chicken cacciatore. That might not be the exact recipe, I don't remember. Anyway, if you enjoy coming to these sort of events and hearing about what people in the community are engaged in, I would highly recommend that you check it out. The website is ignitesannarbor.com.
.org.
What?
.org.
Oh, .org. Thank you. There's one announcement. Oh yeah, and I want to quickly thank our sponsors. There's actually a lot of people that helped this event come together. One is A2Geeks, the sort of meta organization in Ann Arbor that allows a lot of these individual events to take place. Another, of course, is our venue sponsor. We have a couple of people here tonight from the University of Michigan Law School Entrepreneurial Clinic, and without their help, we would not be able to hold this event, actually. And so many, many thanks to them for hosting us. And I think that some people here are really, If you have questions about Entrepreneurial Law then please stick around, because I see Bryce is here, and I met someone else earlier who is here too. Okay, great. Okay, and so next up is Jamie, who's going to be telling us about his company, Right Brain Networks.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys coming out today. My company's called Right Brain Networks, and what we do is we basically help people use Amazon Web Services. We typically do like an assessment, helping them up and running, or we'll come in and kind of fix some applications that are broken in AWS, possibly help them actually reduce some of their fees. And when I was originally approached to do this, I thought about actually just talking about AWS, because I know so many startups are actually using it. Something about like 90% of the Y Combinator startup companies are using AWS, so I thought we could kind of be topic to talk about here. But then I kind of reconsidered it, and I figured I'd kind of focus a little bit more on actually my business and kind of how it might apply to everybody else. In a nutshell, I've been in business since 2004, but it was kind of a vehicle for my freelancing. I had a full-time job at that point in time until I was laid off in 2008. And I decided in 2009 I'm not going to stop looking for a job and just kind of do this full-time. And I've been based in downtown Dexter since then. About 70% of our clients are various startups and different ones. We work with a lot of bootstrappers. We're dealing with a lot of people who actually have money in their Series A. We've got clients from all over the world, from Australia to out in California. We also do a lot of business locally here, of course, as well. There's 6 of us there, 3 full-time, 3 part-time. It's taken me a long time to kind of get where I'm at. As I said, I've been doing this full-time since 2008. And I think every kind of company kind of goes through the phase in which they're trying to figure out, who they're about, and kind of, it's almost like breaking in a pair of jeans. You're just trying to find a comfort level. I first started off doing network support because I was an IT manager prior to getting laid off. And then I decided, I've been doing web development for years, and I felt I really enjoyed building stuff, so I was going to kind of go in that direction. The problem with that is everybody and their brother does web development. Very hard to kind of make a living doing that. So then I kind of merged those 2 skills, and we kind of do the whole cloud-based type of stuff. And I've been doing that with a focus for about 6 months, and I think I'll really finally hit something because we're unbelievably busy, and I don't really see that changing. Biggest mistakes. I hired full-time employees too soon. I think a lot of this was being unemployed for so long. I was kind of excited to be a job creator, and I just wanted to give other people jobs after I had struggled so long to find one. I did the math, but I didn't completely understand it. Full-time employees are extremely expensive. I should have stuck with freelancers for a longer period of time. As I told you, my business went through various stages. I should have been kind of a little bit more cognizant of how I was fitting with the clients at that particular time, and I should have been kind of stepping away more got into that. I'm a computer geek by heart. I should have been doing more of this kind of stuff from the beginning, getting out and meeting people. I've been doing that really probably about the past year and should be paid off in spades. Should have been doing that sooner. Getting stuck in the feast or famine cycle. A lot of this occurs in consulting where you're out earning business, you land a business, and you're busy servicing it, and you forget to go out and get the next business. So you have this up and down cycle. You've constantly got to be selling, constantly driving your business, even as you're delivering services to existing clients. Things we're doing right. And I mentioned employees are expensive because they're worth it. I would not be where I'm at today if it wasn't for my guys. Extremely devoted. We've been through some rough times together, and they've stuck with me, and I'm really glad they have them. Adaptive without being distracted. What I mean about that is I've always kind of known what we were good at, and I've kind of been blinders and kind of, don't handle the stuff that we're not so good at. I think a lot of companies, especially in the startup mode, will be willing to work with anybody who's willing to pay, and I've really been pretty good about not doing that. This one is kind of a little bit more of an actionable one. I ran a commercial space as soon as I knew I was serious, and this was originally me. I basically rented a closet for $100 a month. It didn't even have a window. It was enough for a desk and a chair. But it was someplace for me to go every morning to feel like I was at work, and it was a real company, rather than just, my cats jumping all over me. I'd really recommend that you do that, even if it's just a dirt cheap office like I had. And we only bill hourly. Every time I bill flat rate, I've regretted it because it's so creative. And we're not cheap. I believe we add a whole lot of value to it, and I think you really have to seek to understand what value you provide your clients, and don't be afraid to charge for that value, otherwise you're going to be taken advantage of it. Biggest challenges ahead. I'm on 24 hours a day. I've got a wife, a 1-year-old daughter, and another one on the way, and it's really difficult to kind of find a balance to spend time with them and not be thinking about work. I'm constantly on my computer doing work while I'm talking to my wife and eating dinner, and that's got to change. I'm learning that my business is starting to thrive, but it's a little bit different skill set. It's easy to manage money when you don't have any. And now that we're starting to get, I'm not struggling to make payroll every time. I've got to figure out how to be a little bit more strategic with my money. And that's about it. If you're interested in learning about AWS and want to know more about that, we actually host a monthly user group called AWS Michigan. You can go to awsmichigan.org. We're also going to be presenting at Code Mash and send us to Ohio in January. And that QR code is my LinkedIn profile.
Awesome. I love your story. It reminds me so much of the stories I hear sort of over and over again in the Ann Arbor area. Someone decides that they can have more job security by working by themselves. They realize there's this whole network out here, so that they can get involved with and stuff like that. So thank you very much for sharing your story. Questions from the audience, I guess, either about James' business or about networking or.
Do you have any specifics about what told you you should have been kind of graduating? What told you you should have been cycling through your clients in a way as you changed your business?
Yeah, it's a full feature payment cycle. Actually ended up hiring my first guys when we had a full-time project, and it was a very solid project for a few months, and then the client ran out of money. And I suddenly had payroll that I had no income to kind of cover. So it was very much a scramble mode for a few months. We made it through it, but it was at that point that I realized I couldn't do that again. I always had to have, our hands in multiple different things. Yes?
What are some common challenges that people have implementing Amazon Web Services?
AWS, probably the biggest mistake that people don't understand how it actually differs from standard VPS. And a lot of times what I'll actually do is people will throw their application up on a single EC2 instance and expect it to magically scale. And it doesn't work that way. You've actually got to build your application taking advantage of auto-scaling to adjust your various traffic levels. And there's very specific ways to do that. And a lot of times what we'll actually do is help people rewrite their applications to take advantage of it. That's probably the number one mistake. Yes?
So you mentioned that you had some pivots along the way. At what point is it clear that you should pivot? I mean, a lot of times I feel like companies can pivot too much or not pivot at the right moment. So what helped you make those decisions?
I was kind of just thinking question like that, so I was trying to figure out how to explain it. And I guess I felt like I had a metal detector. I was kind of searching for everything, and then you get closer and closer to doing my hit, and I just knew it. It was just finding the right match between my skills and what the customers were demanding. And I don't really know how you go out and seek that, other than just being open to various opportunities and really seeking to understand what your clients' needs are and trying to address them.
I think that's worth pushing on just a little bit. Like, what is it that really is it the type of work that you do that you really enjoy, or is it the people that you're working with, or is it the size of the contracts, or the action of the client?
Yeah, me personally, it really this whole cloud thing works for me because it's such a hybrid between software development and systems administration, and those are really kind of different skills. But I've kind of done both throughout my career. I'm a pretty competent developer, and yet I'm very good at doing networking. And be able to kind of blend those two, the crossroads just happen to be cloud computing, and that's a very hot topic right now, and that's just kind of a rocket we've got to build up, and I'm excited to see where it takes us. Yes?
It might just be me, but I'm having a little difficulty understanding what the company does. Can you describe a typical contract that you might undertake and what you're doing for that client?
Sure. Are you familiar with AWS at all? Amazon Web Services? Okay, Amazon Web Services is an Amazon cloud computing platform. Cloud computing, depending on who you ask for, has different definitions. But it's one of the popular solutions where you have your app, you want to be able to instantly scale your app to a million users, or you want to have the ability to kind of have redundant pieces without having to buy all this equipment. So a lot of people will actually take their application with PHP, Python, Java, whatever, and throw it in Amazon cloud. And it takes quite a bit of know-how to do that, right? That's why there's projects out there like engineering and Heroku that kind of abstract that away from you to kind of make it easy. The problem with those solutions is they're really good to get you started, but as soon as you start getting substantial traffic, they get very expensive very quickly. And they run on top of AWS anyhow, so of course they're going to be more expensive. So if you learn how to use AWS directly, you get all the benefits with reducing the cost. And that's what we do. We're consultants. We help people write their software, rewrite their software, or redesign their networks to kind of do that. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It's really hard to understate this trend in like the late 1990s, early 2000s. When you start a company, you would buy a bunch of servers and put them in a data center. No one does that anymore. The servers are at a facility owned by Rackspace or Amazon or something like that. But it turns out there's additional complications with not actually ever being able to physically interact with the servers that you own. And so that's some of the stuff then. Okay. Yeah. I think we have time for one more question.
Sure.
Do your clients come to you knowing that they need AWS, or do you tend to offer solutions that include AWS?
It's primarily coming to us. A lot of times it's like they just kind of get over their head. They know they're doing it wrong, but they don't know how to do it right. Or it's just running horribly. They're like, hey, I put it up in AWS. Why isn't this scaling? Why can't I have a million users on a single instance? And maybe we'll go in and analyze the situation. Well, this is why. You need to be spreading that traffic across multiple instances or multiple servers. So yeah, I don't think we've ever really sold AWS to anybody who didn't know what it was, didn't come to us asking for it.
Cool, thank you. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I have one more key announcement that I wanted to do before we're going to the floor. And that is, in this election, there is a library village that's coming from the. It's a really weird topic to be bringing up at a2newtech, but the reason I do is that part of the village includes a community space, basically a 300-person auditorium where we can hold events like a2newtech. So when we have guest speakers come in, or on occasion we do a panel at a2newtech, and we need more space than this one room can provide, basically the Ann Arbor Public Library renovation is going to include a large public space that people can use for events like this. If you want to get more information on the village, I would check out the Facebook group for Our New Library. And there's 2 events coming up for Our New Library. One is a tour of Zingerman's new facility that I believe is tomorrow. You can sign up for on the Facebook group. And another is a bicycle tour of all of the library branches. So if you have any questions about the village, please reach out and listen. You guys can come up and try to get the VGA set in. The reason I'm doing this pattern is so we can switch over.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see here. What else do we have going on? Yes, I know there are many companies in the audience that are looking to hire engineers. Stick, who's presenting after Glyph, also Olar, Deep Field Network, so I don't think there is anyone here for. But does anybody else want to, in the audience, announce that they are a Ann Arbor area company who is looking for engineers or people to work at their startup? Yeah. Okay, I guess that also includes Duo Security and Glyph. So you might have to adjust the. Is that the same cookie that we had set up earlier, or was it a different one?
No.
Yeah, so you probably have to go and adjust the resolution to like 10.4 by 68. I know there were a few people contacting me beforehand. There were community announcements. Do you want to go ahead and do that now?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, if you'd like.
My name is Ed Carlson, and I'm here as an ambassador for the Great Lakes Entrepreneurs Quest, locally known as GLEQ.
Yeah.
It's a business plan competition held twice a year, and the enrollment period is currently open. It was supposed to close on the 15th. It's been extended to the 29th. If you get involved in GLEQ, it's open to all mission-based entrepreneurs. There is a potential for cash prize at the end of the competition. But I think more important than that is what you gain from it. You get matched up with a business coach for your business, so you have advice and support in preparing your business plan. You're invited to ask the investor roundtables where you can meet venture capitalists and angel investors. You're offered no-cost opportunities to attend networking events, entrepreneurial networking events, and educational events around the state. And you'll get written feedback on your business plan from investors, which is pretty valuable, I think, for people when they're thinking of launching a business. And then lastly, the fall business plan competition that closes on the 29th of this month. The awards are made at the end of January at the annual collaboration for entrepreneurs, which will be ACE 13. This year it's going to be held in Livonia at the end of January 31st. So thank you.
Cool. Okay, I think Lynn's ready to go, so take it away, guys.
Yeah. Thanks. We kind of signed up for this, and then the ALCS happened, and we figured it'd be an empty house as people were getting ready for that in the debate. So thanks for showing up. We are Glyph. I'm Mike. This is Josh. And we've got Raghu and Matt sitting right there. And we're Glyph. So a couple of quick questions for the audience. Who out there, raise your hands please, if you have a credit card that offers reward points? Okay, so that's like everybody. Now, how many of you, if you could double or triple your rewards points without having to change your behavior in terms of where you shop, how many would be interested? Okay, a lot of people again. So in a couple weeks when we launch this thing in the App Store, you should check it out. Basically, to orient you on what Glyph is about, we help consumers like everyone here figure out how to take their high-level goals related to their finances and turn them into street-level decisions. So the first and best example of that is reward points. We've built an app that will help you determine which credit card you should use on every transaction based on where you are, what cards you have in your wallet, how much money you've spent on each card. So we'll tell you in real time which card to use. And then over time, based on looking at your spend behavior, we will tell you which cards you should actually put in your wallet. Because our belief is, and we've kind of proven it, that if you're getting something less than 5% rewards on each purchase, that's too little. So with a decent-sized card portfolio, 4 or 5 cards, you can get close to 5% rewards. So to put that in perspective, the average American family earns $51,000 a year and spends $25,000 on credit cards. It's like 48% of earnings. So if you take up your reward yield from like a percent to 5%, that's several $1,000s just for the average American family. And if you earn more than 51K, chances are you spend more than 51K on cards. So it's a pretty decent value proposition. What we'll do now is we'll just walk through a quick demo. There are 3 main parts to the app. We'll talk about Guru first, but the Guru tab in the middle, can't really see it that well, but the idea is you're out to dinner. So you are say you're at Grazie down on Main Street with your family. What it says is there's a Cash Plus card out there that would get you 5%. It's by US Bank. But the best card that you can't really see this that well, but we differentiate gray and white. If the card is white, it's in your wallet. If it's gray, it's not. So the best card that I have is the Starwood Preferred Guest card, and it's getting me 3.4%. But if I would have had the Cash Plus, it would have gotten me 5%. So if you click on Starwood Preferred Guest, that's the one that I have, and say you spent $100, you log it, it says, oh hey, you just earned $345 in rewards. And then when you hit done, it takes you to a dashboard screen. Now, that kind of concludes the part where we talk about the real-time selection of a card, and it begins the part where we figure out what is the right card portfolio for you. So over the course of time, we'll be able to suggest specific cards based on where you spend money to get you more money on restaurants or hotels, airlines, whatever it is that you spend money on, and those are customized to you. So that's the dashboard element. And one of the things that we said was, okay, well, we're going to be driving people to acquire more cards. That's going to be more complicated to manage. So that's the third part of the app. It's called Home. And you probably saw it. This is it. You can see there, it pulls in your credit balance, it pulls in your reward balance. That's across all of your accounts. And you can kind of just flip through them. Can you flip through them? And you can look at them there. And ultimately, we want people to be able to pay their cards off through the app and a couple of other features too. But when we launch this thing in the App Store in a couple weeks' time, this is pretty much what's going to be in it. So with that, I guess we'll close and we'll take questions.
I have 2 questions. One is, what is your business model? And second, do you propose to let people connect to their credit card directly, like Mint? Like if you do a purchase in a store right now, you're sort of trying to type it in back. Yeah, but do you eventually want to just let people do that automatically?
Interesting segue. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Yodlee, but back in the day, they were what powered Mint in terms of scraping banking sites for credit card data. So we're partnering with them. We were just accepted into their program like last week. So we're going to be partnering with them. So you'll be able actually, on this screen, to link your account, and then that'll do away with the whole manual thing. Secondly, on the business model, there are 3 ways that we make money. First is by obviously sending card applications in to credit issuers, and you can make anywhere between $40 and $200 per card application in referral fees from an issuer. That's the first one. Second one is, if you go to Guru screen, just pull up, like, go to Grazie again or whatever. So here, say that you were American Express and you were upset about US Bank beating you out, what we'll offer is kind of like a reverse auction where the banks can look at you as a consumer and say, that's a valuable consumer that I'd like to have in my card portfolio for whatever reason. And then they'll be able to bid, whether it's cash or some sweepstakes or whatever will get you to move. They'll bid and then they will jump up, and so we'll charge a bid administration fee for that. That's the second way. And then third is we're contemplating charging users. I think more and more people are thinking if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. And so I think app.net is probably a good example of that. So what we think is as we continue to add more and better features, we'll have a freemium model where the stuff you saw today would be for free, and then things that we continue to add in over time would be paid. So those three. In the back.
Can you do, instead of point miles, or mile surfing is very common today, and people would like to bid on their next vacation. So I don't care about money, I care about miles, even though it's institutional.
Right. So the question was, do we include cards that have air miles or hotel points and things? The answer is yes, and the way we account for that is actually every mile or airline point has a different economic value. So if you went to redeem 50,000 points on Delta, it would be different than United and US Air and so on. So what we do is we take like a market basket of goods, whatever good it is we're talking about, airlines or hotels, and we look up the price to find, what a hotel stay would cost, and we figure out what it would cost in points. So we actually convert every single point back into a percentage, and that's how we display it as a percentage here. So short answer is yes, and we've got this kind of a scientific way of going about that. Now, to the point on can you save up, that's one of the features that we've been contemplating in the future. For example, if I wanted to go to the Rose Bowl with Doug, I could invite Doug and we could link our accounts, and then as we earn points, it could go into kind of an appropriated account for a specific purpose. That could be a trip or something. But that's not obviously in the launch yet.
Yeah, so is this Passbook integrated, and could you use Passbook so if somebody walks in, your app can calculate what the most rewarding card would be, and that card would just pop up automatically through Passbook's location features?
I hope. As it stands right now, Passbook can't do that because it's mainly prepaid. But the second that, they've mentioned Apple's mentioned many times that they've got millions of credit card numbers. So assuming at some point in the future they integrate that, or frankly any service that Google Wallet or whatever, we could have this kind of power the decision engine that chooses which card the transaction gets put on.
What about security or protection of all my credit cards?
Good question. So we designed this in such a way that you actually don't have to tell us your credit card numbers if you don't want to. We thought it would be actually a significant hurdle for people to, I just heard about some startup out of Detroit and I'm going to give them all my credit card data. Yeah, right. So what we did was we said you don't have to do it. Some other people have said you have to give us your credit card data, but you just actually have to tell us which cards you have, and then we'll track it over time. Now, if you want to integrate to the earlier question, the Yodlee thing where it automatically pulls in your transactions and you don't have to manually record anything, there's a trust issue there, but hopefully by the time people do that, they've kind of learned that we are trustworthy. So said simply, we won't ever have credit card data in the app unless we're processing transactions, but that won't be for a while.
We can take one more question because we're out of time. I think someone...
Yeah, someone in the back, sorry.
Is this just a mobile app, or are you looking to do this online as well so that those who are making online purchases have this ability, to use what you're...
Yeah, in time, yes, we want to do it on the web too, either as a plug-in or something. For now, it's just mobile, but one of the things that we're doing is actually in Guru, we're going to build a toggle where you could toggle between physical and digital purchases. So if you're on Amazon.com or something, or booking a flight, it'll tell you which card to use on a digital purchase. So eventually we want to take that to the web. It's just a little complicated. So.
All right, thank you guys so much. Usually afterwards, everyone sticks around, so if you have more questions, like where does that free magic money come from, please stick around and let us know what your questions are after all of the turns. One thing I noticed that was kind of interesting actually about all the presenters is it's sort of a testament to how strong the Southeast Michigan entrepreneur ecosystem is. I don't think any of the presenters companies are actually based in Ann Arbor proper, but somewhere, the Detroit area, Dexter. Actually, where did Jordan go from backstage? You guys are in Saline?
Plymouth.
Plymouth, that's right. Yeah. And our last presenter, Jay, is no exception. I don't know if you're going to get into your story a bit during the. Wait, when?
Yeah, I've got the microphone here.
Okay, cool.
No.
I think it's working okay.
And we're soon. Anyways, I'll get started here, hopefully. That can say this. All right, exciting. All right, my name is Jay. I am one of the co-founders of Stick.com. In a sentence, Stick.com is bringing the age-old process of word-of-mouth referrals for local businesses online. And the story of the business actually starts here in Detroit. I am from Detroit, my co-founder is as well. But we met just before going to Harvard together. And it was at Harvard that the seeds of this business really began. We were fortunate to be classmates with the Facebook founders at school, and what we saw there was this really simple concept brought to fruition to become an international sensation, which was they took an offline process, in this case college, and they brought it online in a powerful, valuable way. And at the time, it was college, it was just the relationships, friendships, conversations that you had, and they brought that into Facebook. Well, after we got out of school, we were building applications on Facebook, etc., but we noticed, kind of in our first consumer purchases, that there was this really big offline market that had not made its way online. Again, that is word-of-mouth referrals. When I first bought car insurance, I called 3 or 4 agencies, got a bunch of quotes, but I didn't make a decision until I called my dad's best friend from high school as an insurance agent who told me exactly what I needed in about 15 seconds. And today, that process still goes on in the offline world, and even though 9 out of 10 people trust a friend's recommendation over every other information source, when you go to the online world, you deal with lead gen sites and a lot of sort of bad actors across a handful of categories. And that process is something that everybody knows. Hey, I need a realtor. Hey, I'm on your deck. It's beautiful. I'd love to get a deck. Again, who do I need to use to get car insurance? Was it a good experience, etc. People tend to ask their friends, and that's what we're trying to bring online. Personalized referrals done right. The real hook for us is that we're built on top of Facebook, which helps us bring in 2 really important things. One is authentication, where all of the content generated on our site is attached to a Facebook photo and a Facebook ID. So we don't have a problem with kind of anonymous referrals that you might see across a host of other review and recommendation sites. And 2, it's personalization. It may be interesting what some person here in the crowd said, or somebody you don't know said online, but it's really meaningful to figure out what your friends have said about folks. And I think that the platform is really based on reviews and recommendations, which a handful of businesses have really built billion-dollar opportunities around. And I think that what we see is our particular categories are underserved by the market leaders. And to give you kind of a quick overview of how we think about that, we're really focused on the least sexy, the least exciting experiences online that are worth the most money, which is to say the first time you buy a home, you need a mortgage, you need insurance, you need a realtor. All those expensive home service related contracting, remodeling, etc. We see businesses like Yelp do a really nice job. I'll go back one to kind of highlight these. Yelp does a great job of serving restaurants and leisure activities, but when you're looking for things that are really expensive but don't really serve the hobbyist reviewer, you really struggle to find good content there. Angie's List, of course, is something that you can pay to get in the door up front, which is the first issue. But the second issue is their reviews you can trust are often written by folks in the Philippines. They don't have that really trusted layer of authentication that we have. And then, of course, LinkedIn, a wonderful business for professional networking, not a place that's built around sales, really. And not a place that people go to buy things, where people are doing this sort of transactional stuff in nature. It's more about posting resumes. The great news is we're in a massive market. There's a couple ways to break it down. One, small businesses spend about $20 billion online in marketing, reputation defense, etc. But another way to talk about it would be the big categories we serve: mortgage, insurance, and real estate. Spend about $25 million annually in marketing spend, and that's not only across the small business spectrum, but also with the really big brands. Anytime you watch ESPN, you're going to see a Wells Fargo ad, an Allstate ad, etc. And I think that we fit nicely into both of those categories. So our story went from Harvard. We have built this business out in San Francisco for the last couple of years, raised a seed round there, and kind of really close to the Facebook ecosystem. But the really, well, actually, I'm going to skip that part. The product very quickly. It's a homepage. The idea of find trusted help with the help of your friends. Of course, logging into Facebook is key. Your search results. The only thing you can see here is it looks like a search result for anything you've ever seen, except these are your friends' faces. So we're showing you search results that are related to you in your network, either connected to them or recommended by them. The nice thing is, when we built on Facebook, is we've got a lot of hooks into various viral interactions. We've done a really good job optimizing those. 150,000 small businesses have built a profile sign up on Facebook. 1.5 million consumers have generated 2.5 million recommendations. We don't spend any money, which is to say that, again, we've tapped into really good natural viral mechanics. Our K factor has been over 1 at times. I don't think it is today, sadly, but it's close. And we do make money. We charge small businesses for premium versions of the site. But the headline of our story, as we've talked about this last year, is we built this in San Francisco. We were excited to build there, but we found that our hometown Detroit was a place where there was more talent and more opportunity to build a tech company. So we came home. I think they asked my mom for this quote, and she put it together. She's the happiest person in the world that we came back to Detroit. There's an enormous amount of talent here in Ann Arbor, in the Detroit area, and we're thrilled to be taking part in a lot of the momentum that folks here in Ann Arbor have built, and a lot of folks in our offices in Detroit have put together. And we're so proud of all the talent here and proud to be a part of this renaissance of technology. We talk about that a lot in Detroit. I know technology has been a great part of Ann Arbor for a long time. But Michigan's a great place, and I think a great place to build a business for a long time. So that's all I got. Thanks for listening. I guess the one thing I'd say is we did raise some money in Detroit, and we're happy to have some resources. And I think the top initiative for us is to introduce ourselves to all the great people in the area, and Ann Arbor, Detroit, et cetera, and hopefully get as many folks excited about working with us as we can. So we're absolutely hiring. Please come see us, but we're also just excited about meeting you. So take it away.
Yeah, well, audience questions, really.
Great, here we go.
All right, so I'll be the first to admit that I haven't really used the new augmented social part of Bing, but with the Facebook login and stuff in the right-hand side where you can have friends refer each other for travel or all the different categories of things that they're allowing people to have the social recommendation engine built on top of Bing, are you worried about, obviously you've addressed Yelp and some of the other things, but are you worried about other types of businesses, Microsoft, Google, or anyone like that getting in on this market?
I think it's really exciting, actually, for us. We would like as many people as possible to build search engines around structured and social data, whether it be Facebook or Google+. And the reason is the content is what really is the backbone of our business. Our defensible asset is millions of recommendations and reviews. And the thing is that those things traditionally in our categories have not really been generated online. Like I said, there's 55 million reviews of restaurants, but if you go looking for a review of a mortgage broker online, it's going to be hard to find it. So that's the content that we own, and we want search engines to be crawling our sites or social signals around these particular purchases and keywords. So I think we're more excited that big people are going after this. To the extent that other people are generating the recommendation review content, then all of a sudden we have a competitor. But I think that TripAdvisor is probably our best sort of, our model business that we want to be like. They have 75 million reviews for, not only the major hotel chains, but long tail and bed and breakfasts in Maine. And I think that they dominate because they have the best content and they have all the content really. Fire away.
All right. Okay. Welcome back to Michigan first. So my question is, with the recommendations, are you able to see the people who make the recommendations if they're friends with the person who they're recommending?
Say that one more time.
Like you showed the picture.
Friends of people who make recommendations.
Yeah, because I would trust a recommendation when it's not a friend on the lawyer or say the broker. If the person making the recommendation isn't like their friend on Facebook. So it's you see what I mean?
Yeah, so a couple ways to answer that question. At a high level, we use Facebook plugins all over the site, whether it be the like button or the comment box to authenticate who people are and then get their ID so we can match them when someone's doing a search saying this person is or is not in your network. But to the extent that a friend is recommending a service provider, we really don't think about that context as being how you find someone. We think you would find someone who is either connected to or recommended by your friends. So that person might as well be an anonymous review where if Joe Mortgage Broker has 10 reviews from friends and you have no connection to them, you're welcome to read about those reviews, etc. But the review we're trying to surface is, Joe Mortgage Broker is recommended or shares 7 friends in common with you. So that's the interaction that we're really looking to identify. Whether or not someone's recommended by 75 of their friends or not, we think that's kind of similar to any other site today where someone may have a million recommendations, but if they aren't related to you or in context to you, they don't mean as much.
How do you incentivize recommendations?
So this is probably the viral hook that we've really nailed, which is there's kind of 2 things that we tap into. One is small businesses love testimonials more than anything. They live and die by referrals, and a testimonial on a website or a web review, whatever you want to call it, is kind of living, breathing, stable store of that testimonial. So there's small businesses that want these, but there's only sites like Yelp or whatever that really does a good job storing them. That's mostly in some categories that most folks aren't in, so primarily restaurants. So on one end, we have small businesses who are hungry to bring this content online. So they're our first sort of tool where they say, I'll go ask all my previous clients to get this, to write a review for me on the site. So that's a great outreach effort. And then we found that people are really happy to recommend and support businesses that have served them well, where it's kind of make it as easy as possible to write a review or recommendation, but it's the example you email from a guy who built your deck and say, hey, would you mind recommending the site? It'll just take 15 seconds. And we found that people are really happy to support these kind of folks. So that's our viral loop as it runs, and it's been pretty successful thus far.
I think we have time for one last question.
All right. Okay.
So Facebook obviously controls the APIs, what they allow. They also control what kinds of things you can share back into the open graph. And these type of services are open to anybody. And with Twitter recently pulling API rights from developers, what happens if, I'm not saying are they going to, what happens if Facebook pulls some of these key API rights that you use?
Sure, that's a great question. So my sense of Facebook is that they're dedicated to being a platform. And at a very basic level, what we use Facebook for is authentication and the use of friend graphs. I think that the primary gray area around Facebook today is distribution, which is kind of the third rung of what they're building, which is to say, I'm very skeptical that Facebook would ever remove Facebook login from Yahoo or any other millions of pages. It's core to their strategy to be the de facto identity on the internet. So I'm very confident that all of the authentication and login type stuff that we use will be there forever. Now, speaking to where it's a bigger challenge is distribution. With 9 million apps, I think, growing on Facebook, how do you get seen? How do you not be told spam, et cetera, et cetera? It's a good question. We end up using a host of different channels, email, search, direct traffic to the site, and Facebook to bring people in. But there's no doubt that it's a constant battle to try to get visibility in the Facebook ecosystem.
Yeah, so Facebook just recently last week talked about how they might want to get into reviews and some more extensive reviews. My question was what if they pull these rights? What if if they do decide to someday?
Oh, it sounds like a great discussion. I'm going to need you guys to see all right. Thank you guys. Thank you. I don't want to keep people here too much longer. I know the presidential debates are for too long. Does anyone have 15 second community announcements they want to make? Yes, please. Maybe. Go ahead.
Thanks, Ed. I'm Dave Bergorka, and thanks for the segue for Talent in Michigan, because I want to tell you all about some talent we have available. I'm with Wellness and Prevention. Our organization just laid off about 25 people. Here in Ann Arbor, we have people from software engineers to project managers to client services folks to marketing folks, etc. A lot of really good people on the market right now. And we've been working with Spark to try to get the folks placed. And I brought a low-tech handout. Michelle at AnnArborUSA.org If anybody's interested in seeing who we have, the kinds of people we have, just drop Michelle an email. She'll send you a list of bios and how to get in contact with the folks. She also has full resumes for anyone. So I think there's a real opportunity to tap into this talent pool.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks.
I think we have one last announcement.
Hello, I'm Hannah. I'm a student at the Ross Business School, and a lot of you were involved last year, attended the Future Tech Conference. It's coming back, actually, again in the same calendar year, because academic years are weird. So we're going to be back on December 8th. That's a Saturday, so hopefully more of the community members can come. It'll be at the Michigan Union. I've got 3 members of my team here. We're going to the 3 Ds. Dave, Dan, and Dennis.
What is Future Tech? Why should I go?
Oh, yes. So basically, it's from a business school perspective, but definitely very deep tech look at what are the current trends in technology as it relates to business. The theme this year is digital convergence, so we'll be looking at, our last one was disruptive tech, so it's a little more like how are all the different aspects, all the different screen views, all the different everything converging, whether it's on your phone, on your laptop, at work, wherever you're bringing your own devices to work, all that kind of stuff. Basically, we'll have 3 panels and a keynote, and then a demo showcase. So there's 3 reasons I wanted to talk to you. One is it'd be great if many of you came. You can sign up at a2newtech.com. We always had a demo showcase, and last year was pretty awesome. I think we had 10 different local startups. So the guys from the demo showcase team have applications low tech now, but they can give you a little more information about how to demo your startup. We had about 280 participants last year, so it's a pretty good, solid crew, and a lot of them are like future business leaders in tech, so they're people you want to know. And also we are looking for a few panelists, so if you're interested in speaking on a topic related to digital convergence, or think you might have something exciting to say, you can talk to Dan.
Cool, thank you.
What's your website?
uofmfuturetech.com or Future Tech Ross.
Future Tech Ross.
On Twitter.
No E in the future.
No E in the future.
I saw some tweets going back and forth. I think there might be another announcement. I'm going to the debates. I'm going to watch the debate after. Okay, so sometimes after a2newtech there's a party where we go to like Pizza House and eat pizza and talk startups. Is anyone interested in that? Raise your hand if you are. Okay, people go to Pizza House after.
Yeah, I just got one quick ask. We need a couple more volunteers for Ignite Ann Arbor a week from Thursday, so see me afterward.
Yeah, Ignite Ann Arbor is an awesome event. If you've never been to one before, you should check it out. It really highlights the intellectual prowess of Ann Arbor. Okay, great. Thank you guys all so much.